So you've learned some scales, you can string all these patterns together, but still your soloing feels uninspired. You're trapped in this Energizer Bunny approach where you start a scale and you just keep going and then you're like, I have no idea where to stop. Where do I pause? And here's the harsh truth about what's actually happening when you do that. You're not actually playing a guitar solo. You're just dumping notes. You finally learn how to comfortably move through a scale on the fretboard, but at that point, every guitar solo just kind of becomes a race. And you wonder, why does it feel like I'm doing everything right, but I still sound boring? Because performing music isn't a barrage of sound. It's a conversation. And one of the most powerful aspects of conversation is leaving space. So today I'm going to give you 3 dead simple changes that are going to instantly transform your solos into sounding less like a dumping of notes and more like music. All right, so let's talk about these 3 simple but game-changing things that are gonna make your solos be a lot more impactful, a lot more expressive, and feel much more like a musical conversation. First, we're gonna talk about the space test. How you build anticipation in your solos by doing nothing at the right times. Think about it in terms of a person-to-person conversation. Generally, you open up with a phrase.
Hello, how are you today?
And then what happens? There's a pause after, maybe because you want to hear what the other person has to say, or you're pausing because you've just completed your thought. But you don't really start a conversation with a pause. Then it's awkward.
Okay.
Same kind of thing, right? So we want to think in terms of phrasing. Phrasing is an integral part of conversation, just like it is in music and soloing, right? I'm sure by now you're at this point where you can start playing. It's the stopping that's the hard part. So I'm going to show you how to play the D major pentatonic in something I like to call the 3-for-1 octave system, where we take the notes in the scale, but we lay them out across 3 octaves that, for one, allows for much more expressive playing just by the way it's laid out. And 2, it's much more noodle-proof, right? So you're less likely to find yourself just robotically walking up and down the scale pattern when it's laid out like this. So we're gonna stick to the key of D major, which was the key of the backing track that you just heard. And that backing track is available in our VIP Club members area, but everything we cover will work just fine over any backing track in D major that you find on YouTube. I would just stick to a similar style, so something that's like classic rock, southern rock. So it starts here, and we're gonna do 5th fret, 7th fret, and then we're gonna do 5th fret, 7th fret on the A string. We take this and we move it up to the 9th fret on the A string. And this essentially is going to be copy pasted across 2 additional octaves. 7th fret of the D string, we have 7, 9, 7, 9, 11 on the G string. Same notes, but in a different octave, right? So now we move to the 10th fret, 12th fret on the B string, 10, 12 on high E. Finally, we land on 14. So we have. Now you may see this and wonder, is this the full D major pentatonic scale? The answer is yes, it is. The pentatonic scale is only 5 notes, and we have all 5 of those in each of these patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're just laid out in a different order than we see them appear in, let's say, this pattern. Which, by the way, that contains 2 octaves of the D major pentatonic scale, but we're gonna explore 3, so we get more range, and because of this pattern, it's a whole lot harder to just robotically go up and down, right? Because it's not really laid out that way. So it works in our favor. So if we're gonna test how we leave space between phrases, we now have the layout of notes that we're gonna be playing around with that we can use to start a phrase, right? So let me demonstrate. Let's say I wanna start a phrase in this lower octave here, right? And it's something real simple, something that basically toes the line of the pattern going up. Right, so I was just sliding the 5th fret and the 7th fret, right? On the E string, then I went 5, 7, slid up to the 9th fret on the A string. And even though that's really simple, that sounds like a musical sentence right there. So where I landed here, I can just shut up for a second, and there's the space. You'll want to build that habit of leaving space so this starts to occur naturally to you. The second thing that's going to help put a stop to your endless note parade is to play in sentences. We talked about that space test, right? Finding out where we can leave those little pockets of space. And what naturally happens when you leave those pockets of space is it kind of like organically results in phrasing. But with this, we want to really be deliberate in our phrasing. And when I say play in sentences, I mean it. Like, think of a sentence in your head and let that kind of be the start and stop of a phrase. So if I were to start with a simple sentence like, I took my dog for a walk, right? Simple, you understand the meaning, makes sense. If I were to turn that into a phrase, it doesn't have to send that same message, but as far as just like the timing of it, right? I went outside to walk my dog. Just thinking of that sentence helped give me a starting point and a stopping point. I just picked some notes in this little pentatonic playground we're messing around with, and then that was it. And then we can move on to the next sentence, which is, I waved to my neighbor, okay? All right, there's another phrase. So with these sentences, don't think like you have to play them exactly how they appear in your head. They're just giving you something to work with that you wouldn't otherwise have had you not started thinking in terms of sentences, right? So you think of the sentence first, and then you play it. Make it as simple as possible. It can even be a 2 or 3 word sentence, and then make a 2 or 3 note phrase. And then there you go. Now you're playing in phrases. By the way, if you're getting value out of this lesson, do me a favor, hit that like button and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Now, the third and final thing that's going to help you stop overplaying is the call and response trick. This can really help with carrying on the conversation, right? Especially if you're jamming with yourself. So even if you're musically monologuing, right, you're still having that conversation. And this is also a fun way to really explore those different octaves. I always love to approach call and response like this. I'll start with a call lick, something simple, like a simple phrase, right? Let's just say something like that, real simple. And then I have my response lick. That's something that, let's say I'll jump to a new octave, and that'll be kind of like it's someone else responding to what I just played. You know, so there's the call, there's the response. It's kind of fun, right? And it also helps you, get more comfortable jumping those octaves. So let's do another one. Real simple call. Here we go. All right, now let's do a response in this upper octave here. All right, and I can just keep this going. And it doesn't have to be jumping octave to octave, right? But I just like that because it kind of sounds like you got one voice here saying something, then the other voice here saying something, just by virtue of those different octaves. But it also helps, like I said, get you comfortable hopping them, right? So you can navigate through this 3-for-1 octave pattern that I showed you. But it can be anything, right? You can do a call lick like this, and then a response lick like this. Really simple, right? And kind of toes the line of what the first lick was, but it's different enough that it sounds fresh and sounds like a continuation of the musical conversation. And I want you to know, everything that I'm showing you now, these aren't just tips. These are rules that the professionals live by. And listen, all of these rules don't just apply to one key. We talked about the key of D major today, but what if I told you that you can learn how to play in every key, major or minor, and apply these same things to that so you have that same professional approach? Well, remember that free gift I told you about? That's exactly what's going to get you there. This right here is a free guide on how to instantly solo in any key. In record time, you're going to learn the fastest system on identifying every key on your fretboard and how to play in each of those keys in both major and minor. It's my gift to you for hanging out with me today. Just be sure to click here to claim your copy, or if you're watching this on TV, scan the QR code or check the link that I left for you in the description box. I want you to learn how to solo without stepping on the music. You may have heard this before, that serving the song is the most important thing to do as a musician. And everything that I just showed you is going to set you on the path to playing less, but saying more.